What's going on, everybody? Story time. So, for this video, I was thinking about what I wanted to do because I'm trying to make some videos inside here in the little office at home because can't really fish right now. All the water is frozen, so can't fish. Deer season's over, so I thought, why don't I do a story time video? So I want to talk about my two favorite hunts I've been on. So the first one, I don't know. Honestly, don't even remember what year it was. I was a teenager, somewhere in there, and it was gun season. Me and my dad had this farm out west of where we lived, and there was some people in our church that always let us hunt. We did a lot of dove hunting there, which was amazing. Killed a lot of dove out there. And then we deer hunted as well. And we had done it a lot. I killed my second deer ever there. We'd had a bunch of fun times out there hunting. But this day, it was towards the end of gun season. I think this was the last chance we were going to have to go. I was sitting about 100 yards or so away from my dad, down in this creek bottom, kind of. It was a wet weather branch, so it wasn't always flowing, but there were cornfields. We're in the bottom. There's cornfields up here, and then there's woods up here that go to the end of the property. And so they would always funnel in from the woods down through the bottom and then go up to the corn. And so they were rutting hard that day. Early in the morning, I saw a bunch of deer. So I'm sitting where I'm sitting. I'm looking down the bottom. Woods are here, cornfields are up this way. So I could see a long ways up on this hillside that led to the woods. And I saw early in the morning, it was a little bit after daylight, a bunch of deer running around and then one big buck following them. And my dad couldn't see it because where he was sitting, he had his back to that and he really couldn't see up that hill. And so really there was no other action for a long time after that. And it was probably 10:30 in the morning or so. And I think we were going to sit another 30 minutes or so. Not much. It was coming down to the wire. All of a sudden, boom! My dad shot. I don't know what he shot. I never saw it. He said, shot a buck. And I was like, oh, okay. He didn't mention anything about if it was big, small, anything. Just said, shot a buck. He had antlers. That's all he said. And so I waited a little bit, and finally he texted me and said, come over here and we'll go look for him. I walk over to where he's at, and 50 yards away, the deer was laying there. He dropped it. And he didn't tell me that at the time, but he dropped it. So we walk over, and I'd never seen a deer that big. There's not a bunch of huge deer around where we live. It's not like northern Missouri where there's ag fields everywhere and they're giant deer. So it was pretty incredible. We walked up on this deer right here. I mean, just a beautiful southern Missouri buck with stickers, and this one's broke off on this side, one's broke off here. I mean, he was rutting hard. He had been pushing does around, fighting bucks. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe it when we walked up on the deer. I was so pumped. My dad was calm, He didn't get too worked up about it, but he was pumped too. But yeah, I'll put a picture of him with it on the video here. It was such a fun morning to be with my dad when he killed his biggest buck. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, we field dressed him, got him out of there, and then in the future I want to use a cape from a different buck I kill at some point and get it mounted, because it is a beautiful, beautiful southern Missouri buck. I mean, I don't know that I'll kill a little bigger one down here, that's for sure. It's definitely biggest one I've seen. But yeah, that was a pretty incredible day. We had so much fun. I'll cherish that memory forever. I'm sure my dad will too, but that was a blast. So the next story is me and my buddy Jacob we went out to some public land around the lake. That's by close to where we live. Table Rock. There's a bunch of little slivers of public land you can get into off of Table Rock. A lot of them you have to access by boat, but this one we could get in from there's a neighborhood with a little pull off that you could get to and then walk right onto the Corps of Engineers land. And so he had hunted there, I think, for a couple of years, and he killed his first buck there, actually, a nice 8-point. And so we went out, I think it was November 4th maybe. So they were rutting for sure. And we this is just like the last one, kind of. It was in a bottom, but this bottom is just on a finger of the lake. So the lake comes to a point, and then the creek that feeds the lake is where this public land, it just comes up a few hundred yards. And so we're in this bottom. We set up and just a bunch of oak trees. We were in a couple oak trees. We were about 40 yards apart from each other with our bows this time. And we drug estrus scent all around where we were, so to, I guess, attract a buck, also to cover our own scent. We sat for a while. It was getting close to dark, and I decided to use my antlers and rattle a little bit and grunt a couple times. And not 2 minutes after I did that, I couldn't see. I heard something, but I looked at him, and he made a motion like there was a deer coming. So I'm just waiting to see where it came out from. And a big buck came about 40 yards away from him, just nose down following the estrus that we had been dragging around there. I mean, he was hot on it. And I guess he just heard us rattling and came running. He came in, stopped 40 yards in front of him broadside, and he nailed it. Just nailed it. And it ran off. I think we were 19 probably at the time. 18 or 19 years old. I don't remember. It was a few years ago. We were 18 or 19. And so we were real excited. I could tell he hit it, but we heard him run off, but we couldn't tell if we heard him crash or if it just the sound faded as he ran off, kind of up the draw. But we waited a few minutes, got down. It had gotten dark in the time we waited. Got down. Or we waited until dark. Got down, found where he shot, found his arrow, and then found blood. We decided he didn't know how good of a shot it was because he couldn't quite tell. It was getting it wasn't dark yet, but it was getting less visibility, so he really couldn't tell if he had nailed him or not. He thought he did, but we weren't sure, so we just found blood, marked it on our maps, and then went out and got a bite to eat. Probably the most stressful dinner he's ever had. But we went out, ate, and then went back in probably an hour and a half later, and trailed the blood for probably 50 to 100 yards, and there he was piled up. It was wild. You've never heard two young men scream like that in the woods. It was crazy. We went nuts, just hooping and hollering out there. And so we gutted him out and drug it out. That was, to get in, you got to go up or you go down a steep decline, but to pull that thing out was, it was rough. I don't know how far it was, but it was not fun dragging that thing. Just a big old Southern Missouri buck. We were so pumped. I was so excited to be there with him when he got to kill it. And I think it was 140 something inches. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, we got it out, put it in my truck, and then took it back to the farm he was living at the time, and he got it mounted. And it was a nice buck. We were real excited. One of the more fun moments I've ever had in the woods, that's for sure. But yeah, I'll put a picture of that one in here too. It's a beautiful buck. But yeah, those are the two most fun experiences I've had in the woods. Neither one were me killing them, but that's all right. I had just as much fun watching my dad and my buddy kill those great bucks. I don't know if anything will top those hunts. They were fun. But yeah, just thought I'd share a couple stories. If you liked it, hit like. If you want to see more videos, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. We will see you on the next Carson Wars Adventure.